diseases. So the term mania, it is characterized by an excessive desire or too much of euphoria. So last, when I took the introduction class, I have already told a manic episode is by an elevated norepinephrine levels, while depressive phase is associated with a decrease in either dopamine or norepinephrine levels. These are the, so that I have already told in the introduction class. So these are some of the signs of this mania. There will be lack of sleep, risky behavior, that is throwing all the coins and rupees, irritability, then flight of ideas, rapid speech, always highly talkative, then hypersexuality. So these are the signs of manic episode. So we have to give some treatment for this mania. So it was in 1940. This lithium chloride, this element, it was actually given to some hypertensive patients as a sodium-free table salt, because we know that hypertension patients, they cannot take too much of sodium. So this is a sodium-free table salt. So it was used as a sodium-free table salt. But later on, they found out that two events occurred. What were the events? One is severe lithium toxicity and death. And another thing, MDP with that is manic depressive psychosis with hypertension, they showed definite improvement in the MDP symptoms. So this was a new discovery. So, but there were deaths also. So then they found out that it is effective for MDP. So we will see the important drugs for mania and bipolar disorder. The important drugs are lithium carbonate, and also we can use anticonvulsants like sodium valproate, carbamazepine, lamotrigine. This we have already studied when we studied epilepsy. The atypical antipsychotics, already maybe in the morning you would have heard this, olanzapine, risperidone, quetiapine, aripiprazole. So these are the important drugs for mania. So if we will be seeing the lithium carbonate. So lithium carbonate, it is a monovalent, Li plus, that is monovalent cation, and it is the one of the standard anti-manic and mood stabilizing in the past 2-3 decades. It was first discovered in the sense it is found out by a psychologist, that is Australian psychologist, that is Cade. His name was Cade. It was in 1949. He found out that this is effective in mania, this lithium. He did not discover lithium, but he found out that it is effective for mania. That is Cade. Then, but later on, several anticonvulsant and antipsychotics like this valproate, then all our atypical antipsychotics, they were found to be effective in bipolar disorder, and they are more effective as well as manageable. So, in the list, this also came. So, but now we will see what are the actions and mechanism of this lithium. Lithium, when it is given to the patients in normal individual or in bipolar patients, it won't produce any acute effects. When we are giving lithium, it won't produce any acute effect. But on prolonged administration, it causes the changes. Especially, it will take some 1 to 2 weeks. In mania, mania means what is the Malayalam name for mania? Helen Matthews. Mania means? Helen Matthews, are you there? Helen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Okay. Do you know what is mania?
Yes, I know, ma'am.
Or in English, you can say what is the other name for mania? Tell me.
I don't know, ma'am.
You don't know. You don't want to say the name. That's what I can understand that. Like mad. Mad. That is mania. Okay. When we give the lithium, it will take some 1 to 2 weeks for to start its effect. Then it will prevent the cyclic mode changes. Now we will see what are the mechanism of action of this lithium. Several mechanisms have been described. That is inhibition of phospholipase C, modification of GABA, decrease in the synthesis of dopamine and norepinephrine, and decrease in the function of brain protein kinases. So one by one we will see. So these are the mechanisms that is identified. This inhibition of, first we will see these sentences, then we will go to the pictures. So inhibition of phospholipase C synthesis with the resultant decrease in the brain inositol triphosphate and diacyl glycerol concentration. This reduces the sensitivity of some neurons to the action of various neurotransmitters. I will explain that. Then modification of GABA, that is concentration in the brain and modulation of synaptic glutamate availability. So mania means there is excess of glutamate, so there will be reduction by lithium. Then decrease in the synthesis of dopamine and norepinephrine. We have seen that these are all increased in mania, so there is decreased synthesis. That is by facilitation of neuronal reuptake, so that in the synapse less neurotransmitter will be available. And also decreasing the function of brain protein kinases, leading to alterations in the release of neurotransmitters and hormones. So we will see one by one. Yes. So in mania, there is increased activity of norepinephrine or dopamine. So for especially norepinephrine. So this alpha adrenergic receptors as well as muscarinic neurotransmission, these are acting through certain second messengers like IP3 and DAG. We have studied in the general pharmacology this IP3 DAG. It is the second messenger for GQ, this G protein coupled receptor, that is GQ protein. So this IP3 DAG, this formation, this is mainly high in case of the manic patients. So in mania, this neuronal circuits become overactive and start producing IP3 DAG, in turn inositol. So I'll show the picture. I will just describe and I'll show the picture. So then and also it provides a regular supply of PAP2, and so that again formation of IP3 and DAG occur. Okay, first we will see the picture and then we will come back. So this is the formation. This is phospholipase C. From that, this DAG, IP3 DAG. For 1 minute. Okay, so when this is a G protein coupled receptor, when the norepinephrine, if it binds like that, it will be GQ protein. There is G protein coupled GQ. Through the GQ, it is second messenger is this IP3 DAG. This DAG, it will remain in the membrane, and IP3 will go into the cytosol. It causes all the calcium mobilization and response. That is the normal action. But and IP3 later on, it will be converted to IP2 inositol, inositol to PAP, PAP2, and further to PLC. And then from there again, DAG and IP3 will be formed. So this is the cycle that is happening normally. But what does its lithium do? Lithium, it will inhibit the formation of this inositol. So only if there is inositol, there will be further formation of DAG and IP3. So this DAG and IP3, it is needed for the responses in the neurons. That is for the sensitivity of the different neurons to norepinephrine. That is determined by this second messenger, DAG and IP3. If there is no formation of DAG and IP3, naturally there won't be any response. Even if there is norepinephrine, there cannot be any responses. So that is lithium does. So lithium, it will prevent the conversion of IP to inositol. Inositol is the precursor. That is, it will come to PAP, PAP2, which is the precursor for DAG and IP3. Now we will see the statement again. So in mania, the neuronal circuits become overactive and start producing more IP3 and DAG, in turn inositol, to provide regular supply of IP2. Lithium selectively inhibits the signal transduction in overactive neurons. As a result, the supply of free inositol to regenerate PAP2 in the hyperactive neurons, it is interrupted, and ultimately there won't be any IP3 or DAG, and it decreases the neuronal response to norepinephrine or dopamine. So I think you understood. So there is no formation of inositol, hence there is no formation of DAG, IP3. So there is no response by the neurons to this norepinephrine or dopamine. The same thing only, lithium in therapeutic concentration inhibits the hydrolysis of inositol 1-phosphate by inositol monophosphatase. Supply of free inositol for regeneration. That is membrane phosphatide inositates are the source of IP3 DAG. Okay. Another thing, this lithium, it will affect only the hyperactive neurons. So that is one importance of this specialty of this lithium. So lithium ignore the normally operating receptors, but search out the overactive receptors. So there only wherever there is the overactive receptors and overactive formation of IP3-DAG, that will be inhibited by lithium. Okay, I think you understood. So this is the more attractive hypothesis or attractive mechanism. So the all other mechanisms are there, but this is the number one mechanism. It is the attractive hypothesis or attractive mechanism. Other mechanisms are also there is signaling through PKC, glutamate, arachidonate. All these are there, but through the IP3-DAG, that mechanism, it is the most important. The another mechanism, I told you, it inhibits the presynaptic release of dopamine, and also it increases the reuptake of dopamine. So that is also there. It decreases the presynaptic release of norepinephrine and dopamine. Then, yes, okay. Now we will other actions of lithium. So we have seen the mechanism of action. Now we will see other actions. So lithium inhibits the action of ADH on distal tubules. ADH means antidiuretic hormone. So when it is inhibited, naturally there will be diuresis. So there will be, so this is called diabetes insipidus. So lithium can cause diabetes insipidus. So the lithium-induced diabetes. This is a drug-induced diabetes insipidus. So because it inhibits the action of ADH, that is number one. And also this diabetes insipidus, which is formed by this lithium, it is resistant to ADH. If we give ADH also, it cannot be corrected, but it responds to potassium-sparing diuretic like amiloride. So another action, it inhibits the ADH and it causes diabetes-induced diabetes insipidus. Then another action, insulin-like action. So naturally, there will be hypoglycemia, insulin-like action. Leukocyte count is increased by lithium therapy. So because the leukocyte count is increased, it is used in certain chemotherapy-induced leukopenia and agranulocytosis where this can be used. So in some cases it is used, but we have to see the plasma concentration. We will come to that. Then lithium also inhibits the release of thyroid hormones, and some people may become hypothyroid also. It's not hypo, they become hypothyroid. Now, this lithium we can give orally and peak level will be in 2 to 3 hours. Now, this when we about the reabsorption in the kidney, the proximal convoluted tubule, usually the sodium, it is actually reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule. But lithium is just like Li plus, Na plus, 1 plus, is it somewhat equal, monovalent. So what happened in the proximal convoluted tubule, there is a competition between lithium and sodium, and lithium will be reabsorbed and sodium will be excreted out. So because of this, those people who are patients who are on lithium treatment, they have to maintain adequate salt and water, adequate salt. Otherwise, there will be hyponatremia. So because lithium is reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule. Now, yes, about the lithium, one very important factor is that it is the margin of safety is it is narrow. So we have to do the therapeutic drug monitor. That is serum lithium concentration is needed. Patients who are on lithium, we have to check the plasma concentration frequently. There should be monitoring. And see, you can see 0.5 to 0.8 milliequivalents per liter. So it is the optimum for maintenance therapy. And for acute mania, it is 0.8 to 1.2. See, only it is a narrow margin. And the toxicity symptoms develops if it exceeds 1.5. So maximum we can give is 1.2 toxicity symptoms. 1.5 starts developing. 2 means it is highly dangerous. So it is having a narrow margin of safety. Then lithium is also excreted in sweat and saliva and also in breast milk. So mothers, there is mania. Some mothers may be manic, so such mothers on lithium should not breastfeed because it may be secreted to the milk also. Then now we will see some of the adverse effects. What are the adverse effects? Usually in the therapeutic range, only minor adverse effects like nausea, vomiting, mild diarrhea, etc., thirst, polyuria. Then gradually it may develop tremors. Tremors can be controlled by propranolol. Then CNS toxicity like giddiness, again tremors, ataxia can occur. So this is the in the therapeutic range, but overdose symptoms, that is if it is above 2 milli, 1.5 to 2 milliequivalents per liter, it may cause overdose symptoms. They may produce muscle twitchings, drowsiness, delirium, coma, and convulsion. So lithium, it is a very good drug, but because the narrow margin of safety, we have to be very careful. Otherwise, the patient may become comatose and he may develop convulsions also because of the narrow margin of therapeutic margin. Now, suppose if the patient develop toxicity to lithium, there is no specific antidote. Only we have to give some osmodiuretics or sodium bicarbonate infusion. And if it is more than 4 milliequivalents per liter, we can do hemodialysis. So that is about the overdose syndrome. The other side effects we have seen when we studied the action, long-term use can cause renal diabetes insipidus, and also it can cause body weight increase, subclinical hypothyroidism. Because it inhibits the formation, there is a conversion of T3 to T4, that is actually it is inhibited. So because of that, there will be stimulation of the this enlargement of thyroid, and there will be goiter formation. Then another thing, it is contraindicated in pregnancy, especially because it causes hypothyroidism. That is, the child may develop fetal goiter and a newborn may be hypotonic. So it can cause renal diabetes insipidus, then subclinical hypothyroidism, and it is contraindicated in pregnancy. I'm talking about lithium. Fetal goiter, then congenital anomalies can occur, newborn may be hypotonic. So that is other adverse effects. Now, and also it can cause some in T wave. When you see the ECG, lithium can cause the T wave. You know that PQRST, T is the ventricular repolarization. That there will be reduction of T wave. It can also cause the patients on lithium can cause like this acne. It can cause acne means pimples. Then folliculitis, that is hair follicles that is inflamed. And another one, it is, I told you it cannot be given in pregnancy. It can cause embryotoxicity. Lithium is embryotoxic and increases the risk of Epstein anomaly. And what is this Epstein anomaly? Anyone knows Epstein anomaly? Hello? No one. Okay, I'll explain. So this is right atrium and right ventricle, and you know which is the valve between right atrium and right ventricle, that you can say. Which is the valve? One
Tricuspid valve.
Yes, tricuspid valve. So tricuspid means how many divisions are there? It's leaflet. How many?
3.
3. Yes. So there will be malformation. Malformation means you can study in detail. 2 leaf will be going down and one is attached to the septum like that. So in effect, this tricuspid valve, it is ineffective. So natural flow is from right atrium to right ventricle. But because this valve is not well formed, there will be a reverse flow occurs. So from right ventricle to, right ventricle to right atrium, there is back leakage of blood can occur. So this may produce enlargement of right atrium. So that is called Epstein anomaly. So lithium, if it is given to pregnant ladies, there is a chance of development of Epstein anomaly in the fetus. Okay. Now interactions. Interaction, I told you lithium is just like a sodium and it is reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule. So if we give diuretics, what will happen to sodium? Whether there is high hyponatremia or hypernet, or what happens to sodium? Sodium is excreted out, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So sodium will be, sorry, sodium is going out. So since there is no sodium, more of lithium will be reabsorbed. So there will be the plasma levels of lithium can increase and that will lead to toxicity. So we have to be very careful when lithium along with diuretics, we have to be careful. And also it has got an insulin-like activity. So when we are giving the diabetic people who are having this mania on lithium, we have to be very, very careful because they may develop hypoglycemia. So these are the interaction. Then this lithium, it is given as carbonate salt because it is less hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means it will absorb water. So it is less hygroscopic, but in the stomach, it will be converted to lithium chloride. And the usual dose is 300 to 600 milligram, 3 days, 3 times daily. And the plasma levels maximum up to 1.5 only. So 1.2 is adequate. Then acute, now we will see the uses. Acute mania, I told you, immediately it won't produce any effect. Response will be very slow. And nowadays, because manic patients, they will be, sometimes they will be violent, aggressive, etc. So nowadays, the psychiatrist, the people, first they will start some antipsychotics injection or benzodiazepines like this clonazepam, lorazepam, etc. Because we have to, the antipsychotics like haloperidol, etc. they will use, and because we have to control the violence. And after that, because if we start just lithium, it will take time. So first they will be treating with atypical antipsychotics or benzodiazepines, then followed by lithium. Lithium is also very good, but immediate action will not be there for lithium. So this is the treatment. Okay. Now, mania, I have told bipolar disorder. What is this bipolar disorder? Because there will be a, there is a mood swings between mania and depression. Mania, like this, the patient will be like this, and depression, it will be like this. So here, talking excessively, racing of thoughts, hostility, enmity, then lack of sleep, delusions, etc. So this is mania. Depression means it's totally depressed, extreme fatigue, prolonged sadness, memory loss, poor nutrition, nothing. She won't take anything. She or he won't take anything. So this is the mania and depression. So always bipolar depression means two poles, mania and depression. So there is a swinging. So sometimes they may be manic, and another season they will be depressed. So it may change. So this is the bipolar depression. So you can just aware. So here it is always all raining, like crying, and here full of sun. So that is the mania. This is the bipolar disorder. Okay. So this lithium, it is effective in this bipolar disorder also. Mania also, bipolar disorder also. Then now, but because of the frequent, already in the beginning I have told, because of the frequent side effects, other drugs like valproate and alternative drugs are used for bipolar disorders also. And this is also used in case of unipolar depression, and that is only depression. Then cluster headache, then alcohol dependence, this lithium, other uses. Cluster headache, it is nothing but it's a type of migraine. Cluster headache, the headache will come like a cluster. It is intolerable headache, that is cluster headache. Then alcohol dependence, also this lithium, other uses. So mania, bipolar disorder, unipolar depression, cluster headache, alcohol dependence. Now, other drugs for this mania, that is sodium valproate. Sodium valproate also, this is reduces the intraneuronal concentration of inositol. So that is why sodium valproate is used in case of bipolar, this mania and bipolar depression. And also it is safer compared to lithium, better safety profile. So now psychiatrists, they prefer the sodium valproate. I'll come to that. Then another complex of valproic acid, it is D-valproex. That is also used. Now another drug is carbamazepine. It is again an anti-epileptic, but compared to valproate, it is less effective. And another thing, carbamazepine, it's an enzyme inducer. So maybe having different drug interactions also, but it is useful in case of mania. Lamotrigine, again, we have seen in anti-epileptic, it is also used in type 2 bipolar disorder. Atypical antipsychotics, in the morning you have heard olanzapine, risperidone, aripiprazole, quetiapine, etc. They are atypical antipsychotics and also benzodiazepines. Then olanzapine, but we cannot give for long-term therapy because of weight gain and hyperglycemia. So we have seen lithium, atypical antipsychotics, then this valproate, carbamazepine, etc. So the present dictum is a combination of an atypical antipsychotic with valproate or lithium has demonstrated high efficacy in acute phases as well as for maintenance therapy of bipolar disorder. So that means we will be starting with atypical antipsychotics and with valproate. So first one, atypical antipsychotics with valproate. Then gradually we will be adding lithium. So this is for the acute phase as well as for maintenance therapy of bipolar disorder. Okay, that was all about this